In this video, we're going to talk about sales and pitch formats. So I mentioned this in a previous video, but we're going to go over it specifically and how it's one of the most impactful things you can do to apply higher level thinking to your sales process, to the way you're communicating your offer, your opportunity, your business, or your capital raise. All of those things are going to fall under this umbrella. So let's get started. So to go over the overview of what the sales and pitch formats are, they're different methodologies or lengths and durations for pitching your company that are going to emerge as you go throughout your business life. So for example, if you're at a networking convention or at a conference, or you just meet somebody out in nature who is interested or could be a potential customer for your business, your introduction pitch is literally one sentence of who you are, what you do, and who you do it for. So now that you have an understanding, we're going to go over all of them and give the insights so you can go ahead and get this started. So the next is the elevator pitch. You've absolutely heard of it. It's anywhere between 30 seconds to 2 minutes, and it goes more in depth. So in the first introduction pitch, it should just be one line, and that's who, what, and for who. Next, the elevator pitch is going to be including your problem, solution, and your unique value proposition. You want to keep it as simple as that. Now, a key element to mention as that'll show up in all of these is communicating what you're doing in measurable, tangible benefits. So you should have done the math on the 5x, 10x, 50% reduction, whatever those are. You have to know those about your business, because we have to speak qualitatively and quantitatively. Everybody's brain processes information differently. Some people are going to weight more the memorable 10x factors, or some others are going to feel and say, oh, you're going to solve this problem for me. They're going to feel it, but you want to include both, because that's how we get a full penetration into the mind to make ourselves memorable. The next is a one-pager. So how long is it? It's one page, and it's more written. This one is more of a written format. Just think you pull up a Word doc and you type out one page, which goes over your executive summary, problem solution, market size, business model, and team. So when you get into these longer formats, a tip that you can use is, I'll just go to number 10 here, the last, and that is a TED style presentation. Imagine you were going to get up at a party, or maybe you're giving a TED talk where you're going to talk about your business. TED style presentations are about 18 minutes or less. And what that gives you is the full thought of all of the different ways that your business provides value, and also includes storytelling. You figure out who it's for, why it's important at a much deeper level when you just expand that amount of thinking that you're putting into it. So as we go back to the next ones, I actually did these in reverse. So that would be my tip to you. Do it in reverse. That way, when you go back to your introduction pitch, you already have such a full understanding of your business. And that TED style presentation, key highlight, storytelling. When you start to think about the story of your business and your customer and the impact that your product provides, that is when you get a winning formula. Next is going to be your teaser email pitch. Now, we've all seen these. It's your cold outreach pitch, and it could be warm or introduction, but it's your initial outreach pitch if someone knows nothing about your business and you want to gain interest. Now, I say that word gain interest, not gain a customer or a prospect, because the best way to do this is to think about, who do you serve? Do you only serve customers? Or, for example, are investors, are they important too? And should you think through the way you're emailing them? I would say absolutely yes. And so you have and for example, for here, I have investors, affiliates, and customers. You want to think through the value propositions for each of those and what they stand to gain by working with you. And we could go into the depth about what this should look like, what it should entail in another video. We're just going to keep going through with these pitch formats. The next is the 3-minute pitch. So that's going to be your problem, solution, market, traction, team, and ask. As you can see, this one is similar. You could almost take the one pager and then expand on it and include an ask. And again, it's going to be contextual, because the 3-minute pitch is more for investors. That's why it has an ask, but it could also be you're asking for a client. It's just you have a condensed window of time and you want to give the best information that you can about your business. The next is going to be a pitch deck presentation. The note here is between 15 and 20 minutes, but you also want to think through a shorter version that's about 5 to 7. I know now you have the 3, you have the 5 to 7, you have 15 to 20, but you actually want to be thinking through these, because the more time and effort you put into this, someone's going to randomly ask you that you're not going to expect. And when you have these in your mind and you're thinking about it, it'll become second nature, which will lead to much better interactions, because you're going to come across as more confident and ready to deliver a solution and serve that customer and make their life better. The next is a demo day pitch. So this one is more oriented around product-based companies, where you are going to feature a product demo. So it's basically, you can imagine it's your 3-minute pitch with a product demo in the front. So it should be about 5 to 7 minutes total. You have a product demo that you're going to speak over and show the audience that we have a product and here's where we're at. And this could apply to raising capital. It could apply to being at a conference or a trade show, or just to general, you're showing your friend. Next, the sales pitch and presentation. So key. This is where we get into what you think about when you think about a sales pitch. So your sales pitch and presentation, it's important to note, is that your sales pitch does not begin when you ask permission to give your sales pitch or to tell them what you do. It begins all the way on this document where you're thinking through all the value, because that's going to inform your copywriting, your teaser email, your call to actions, your pre-call information, the videos or resources that you're going to create and they're going to see, and then all the questions you're going to ask. That is where your sales pitch begins, is all the way in this process right here. The magic moment where you're able to say, awesome, sounds like we can definitely help you. How about I tell you what we can do for you? When you hit this magic moment, you have already laid all the foundation, their mind's receptive, and they're eager to hear this. So you want to be thinking through a 30 to 60 minute sales pitch. And it sounds like a lot, but your common call is about 30 minutes. You should be wireframing and templating and scripting out every piece, because this is how you create a scalable end-to-end process where by the time someone comes in a sales pitch, that first question that they ask when you open up and say, before we get started, are there any questions I can get answered for you immediately? When you do this, if you start to see the same question come up with everybody, then you can know that you can actually include that. If it's a key point, that's a customer value prop that maybe you don't have solved yet, or you're not communicating and you do have it solved, you want to include that way in the beginning, because you're going to see your conversion rates increase. So now you can see how this is so tangible and valuable, because it's just like writing a program of software. That's how you can model and think about your sales process. If you're a technical founder, realize your sales process, yes, it's emotional. Yes, it is relational. Yes, having this sort of energy that you're receptive and friendly and you smile and you have good tonality and all those things is valuable, but so is laying out the process like it's a program and editing it or improving it as you go. So the key elements of this: customer pain points, product features and benefits, case studies, pricing, ask. That is going to be those are going to be your components. You could also add to this objections. So objection handling. That's where you get into the 60-minute region. Your pitch, your discovery portion of a call. Let's say you do a discovery call in your process. And the thing is, in the beginning, when you get them into that pitch call, there's going to be a bringing up again of what was talked about in the discovery call. So that's going to take anywhere from 17 to 22 minutes, typically, including the initial conversations and things like that. And this is for a bigger product sort of sale. You could have other sales processes that are faster. We're just more talking about B2B, enterprise, or higher ticket items. Now, after about 17 to 22 minutes, your pitch is going to be anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes, where you're actually giving them information about exactly what you do, why it's relevant to them, who you've done it for, and laying out what it all entails. And at that point, they're going to ask about pricing, if you've cleared all their questions away, or they're going to ask questions, which you are going to handle all the way up to giving that pricing, or asking if pricing is the only thing that stands in their way. And then at that point, once price comes up, now you're actually selling, And this is where you get into objection handling, and your 30-minute scheduled call might go 40, 60, or you're going to spill over into another call. That's pretty typical. But the more you engineer this process and the more your brand name, you personally are known in the market, the easier these calls are going to go. So that was just extra delivery there outside of this, the purpose of this video. So hope you enjoyed that. Next is a technical presentation. Again, this is if you are selling a product, a software product. Now, your technical presentation is the technical features, the architecture, the benefits, and the implementation steps. This could be after an initial yes, or in a, you could call it a due diligence call, whether for investors or for customers, right? You have the initial call with the CEO, then you talk to the CTO, and he wants to know the technical details, how we can implement it. This is an important one to think through as well. You don't often think about combining technical presentations and sales, but guess what? They're one and the same in this sense, because you're still conveying information to somebody who's going to be receptive to either saying yes or no based on the information that they get. So this is also a pitch you want to think through. Next, a webinar pitch. So this is a newer one, but your webinar pitch, I like to utilize a very short webinar pitch format. Now, the reason you do this is that you can just send it out and you're giving that person the clear value in a short period of time. You're hitting those core elements. But if you want to run a webinar strategy on a regular basis, whether it be evergreen or you're going out and doing it on a weekly basis or monthly basis, this is a longer experience. It's interactive. You have Q&A and you have a call to action. There is a very specific process for executing webinars. Jason Flanlian is the webinar king. And so you can go buy his book. I don't know the guy, but that's your person. So it is something you want to think through this, think through the questions that you could get, and simply be prepared. This is great today because you can do it one to many, and it more so gives you the opportunity. It's just like content. It gives you the opportunity to showcase your expertise and showcase a lot about it. In fact, a lot more than them, and that you can solve their problem. And that's the realm you want to be in because you're just giving value. So I highly recommend this. So your webinar pitch, you could do a short one, and then you can expand it out, tailored to the persona, depending on how they interact with it, whether it's investors or what have you. Don't really do too many investor webinars, but you get the point. It's customized to that person. So what would they be wanting to know about your company? And then it can go all the way up anywhere from 30 to 60 minutes. So the key elements: educational content, first and foremost, product features, live Q&A, call to action. Done. All right. And then that's when we arrive at the TED style presentation. So as you can see, all of these, when you think through them, you get stories, you get examples, you get experiences that are going to come from a much higher level than if you just go out and try to do this without thinking through all these. And this took me, when I went through this for my company, it took me about 4 to 5 hours of just laser focus on this because I wanted to do it to the highest quality, because it's that very high leverage work where you do it once and you may go back and change it as you get more data, but it will serve as a foundation for your story of your company. And you're going to feel awesome when you go and somebody asks you and you have it written in your brain, ready to go, because they're going to receive that. You're prepared and you're ready to solve their problem or raise that capital, whatever it is. So hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys in the next one.